My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But let's just get into it immediately by talking about the cast. And Michael Cera is fantastic in this movie. He carries it incredibly well. He brings plenty of personality to his character, and he can be very funny. But I love how Scott can be such a scummy character, but Michael Cera has this innocent, naive presence to him, and I feel like he was just the perfect choice for this character, and he really stood out here. And then we've got Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who, by the way, looks beautiful in this movie, but she's terrific. I love how funny and charming and likable she can be, but you can also tell that she has lots of baggage. There is a depth to this character, and I love the little nuances she brings to this performance. Then we've got Kieran Culkin, who is just hilarious as Wallace. He really stands out despite not being in this movie too much. Chris Evans gives one of, if not his best performance here. Like, he's only in this movie for maybe 5 minutes, but holy shit, he is so funny and over the top, and he's great. Then we've got Ellen Wong, who I don't think gets the recognition she deserves for her work here because she is very high energy, very upbeat. But you can also tell that she's hurt throughout this movie, and I just thought she played this character incredibly well. Anna Kendrick is funny and likable despite her minimal screen time. Alison Pill, I thought, was a real standout. She could have been a forgettable side character, but she does elevate this character. She can be funny, but there's more to her than you might think. Brandon Routh gives one of his best performances here. He's really funny and over the top and just fantastic. Jason Schwartzman was the perfect choice for this character because when you hear about Ramona's big ex-boyfriend, you might think someone like Lucas Lee, but instead we get this guy. A very nerdy guy who is just filled with confidence, and I kind of like the subversion of expectations there, and I thought he played this character incredibly well. Then we've got Johnny Simmons and Mark Webber, who I thought did a pretty good job. They can be funny. And I know it's Brie Larson as Envy, and she's good in this movie, no doubt. I just don't see Brie Larson in this movie. Just the makeup and her performance, she completely disappears. Satla Baba does a pretty funny job here, and Mae Whitman does a good job in her minimal screen time. And Aubrey Plaza is very funny as well. So, like, this cast is stacked, and everybody does great. Everybody knows exactly what type of movie this is and leans into it as much as possible. But it's time to talk about the real star of this movie, and it's Edgar Wright. Like, he should have been nominated for an Oscar for his work here. This movie is filled with personality. You can tell it's a director's vision coming to life perfectly, and it's so stylish and interesting and filled with energy, and I just thought he elevated this movie in every sense. It does feel like a video game, like it will be 1v1, or someone will pee and there's a pee ball at the top of the screen, but it just adds so much to this movie. And I just think this movie is incredibly well shot, it sounds great, and it's very well edited. So the technical side of things, just A plus, truly A plus. I like the score by Naja Goldrich, but it's the soundtrack here. Like, okay, I don't know how much of this movie is original soundtrack compared to using other songs, but everything just fits so perfectly. Black Sheep is a total banger. Like, it is such a great song. And I know it's not in the movie, but that guitar solo, just perfection. I also love the use of Teenage Dream by Trek. I love the song Womona by Beck. And I love the song I Heard Womona Sing. I also do like the Sex Bombs songs as well. Like Garbage Truck, it's kind of a bop, and so is We Are Sex Bombs. So the movie is filled with great songs, and it's very funny. Like, I love the one scene where Scott is talking about having a stalker for the band, and then we see knives outside the window. I love when Scott and Lucas Lee are fighting and it's all the stuntmen. I think the running gag of Wallace hitting on every guy is so funny. I love the line, "Bread makes you fat." It's kind of iconic. The scene where Aubrey Plaza is talking to Scott, but the profanity is getting censored, is really funny. Well, there's so many great jokes. It's hard to just pick a few, but I will say my favorite is the entire vegan police segment and Scott being like, "You once were a vegan, but now you will be gone." Just very funny stuff here. But I also really do love the story being told because there is complexity to it. Like I said at the start, Scott is not a good guy. He thinks he is, but he's actually really toxic, and I do like how he becomes a better person by the end of this movie, and the big step to that is admitting what you've done to the people you've hurt and trying to be better. I also do think there was plenty to this movie about how everybody is imperfect and how imperfect people still deserve love. The movie's obviously about emotional baggage in relationships and trying to move on from past loves. I love how this movie is about how hurt people hurt people. Like Scott is mourning over envy, and he just uses knives as just this person to spend time with to help him feel better about himself. It also explores unhealthy relationships and what drives people to those unhealthy relationships. So, like, as funny and weird and as stylish as this movie is, at its core, it's just about damaged people taking, having unhealthy relationships and doing toxic stuff. And I do think the movie has depth to it. I do think the movie is very entertaining. The cast does a great job, and it's incredibly well directed. I know this movie bombed at the box office back in August 2010, but I'm glad it has become a cult classic, so I'm giving Scott Pilgrim a 9 out of 10. But that TV show they made a few years ago of this movie sucked. I hated that so badly, but yeah, Scott Pilgrim, there's just no movie like this. But have you seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin, out.